Ethan lived alone at the edge of the forest, in a small house that had seen better days. His life was quiet, filled with the sounds of wind through the trees and the hum of old machines he liked to repair. He enjoyed the peace, the slow rhythm of human life far from the crowded cities and bustling spaceports. He never expected anything unusual to disturb it, at least not until that evening. A strange shadow moved across his porch just as the sun was setting. At first, Ethan thought it was an animal, maybe a fox or a stray dog. But as he stepped closer, he saw a figure slumped against the railing. The being looked humanoid but not human. Its skin shimmered faintly in the last light, pale with a soft green hue. Its long limbs hung loosely, and its head tilted to one side as if it could barely hold itself upright. Ethan froze for a moment, unsure what to do. Fear rose in his chest, but it was mixed with curiosity. The figure's chest rose and fell slowly, weakly. It was alive but barely. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He put down his toolbox and knelt beside the alien. Its eyes were closed, but soft noises came from its throat, like it was trying to breathe against exhaustion. "Hey, are you okay?" Ethan asked, his voice gentle. The alien did not answer, only shivered slightly. Ethan glanced around. There were no signs of a ship, no weapons, nothing that indicated danger. Whatever this creature was, it was lost and tired. Without thinking, Ethan opened the door and went inside to fetch a blanket. He wrapped it carefully around the alien's shoulders. He fetched a bowl of water and some bread, simple food from his pantry. "Here, you need something to eat," he said. The alien's eyes flickered open briefly, revealing large, dark pupils that seemed to absorb the fading sunlight. It stared at the human for a long moment, and then slowly, almost painfully, it reached for the bread. Ethan watched, fascinated. This being was clearly intelligent, but it carried itself with exhaustion, as if the weight of the stars pressed upon it. Over the next hour, Ethan helped the alien to a chair on the porch. He asked questions, simple ones, but the alien only made low sounds, almost like humming. Its language was strange, but the tone seemed grateful. Ethan did not understand the words, but he could feel the emotion behind them. He had helped many machines and broken things in his life, but nothing had ever thanked him like this. Night fell and the stars came out. Ethan lit a small lamp on the porch, casting a warm glow around them. He noticed small, intricate markings on the alien's skin, glowing faintly in rhythm with its shallow breathing. The patterns were beautiful, like constellations drawn across its arms and face. Ethan wondered what kind of world it came from, how far it had traveled, and what had brought it here. As he watched, the alien finally closed its eyes, resting against the chair. Ethan felt a strange mix of awe and responsibility. He had never imagined meeting an alien, much less helping one. Yet here it was relying on him. The human mind, he realized, often focused on fear and caution, but sometimes simple acts of care could change everything. He made a small bed with blankets on the porch, careful not to disturb the fragile guest. The alien moved slightly as if it recognized the effort, then lay down fully, finally letting itself rest. Ethan sat nearby, keeping watch, wondering what tomorrow would bring. He didn't know the alien's rank, its purpose, or the dangers it might attract, but he knew one thing. No creature should be left alone when it needed help. Hours passed quietly. The night was still, except for the occasional rustle of leaves. Ethan felt a connection not just with this alien but with the universe itself. He had always believed humans were small in the vastness of space, but in that moment he understood something greater. Compassion, curiosity, and courage could ripple far beyond one small porch. By morning the alien stirred. Its movements were slower now, more controlled. It opened its eyes again and looked at Ethan. There was something unspoken between them, a silent understanding. Whatever this visitor was, it trusted him. And for Ethan that trust was enough. Little did he know, the being he had sheltered was not an ordinary traveler. It carried the weight of entire worlds on its shoulders, a leader in a galaxy far beyond his imagining. But at that moment, on a quiet porch at the edge of the forest, none of that mattered. All that mattered was kindness, a bowl of bread, and a safe place to rest. Ethan smiled softly and whispered, "You're safe here. Rest as long as you need." The alien's faint hum seemed to respond, a melody of gratitude that filled the porch with a quiet, almost magical calm. For the first time, Ethan felt that even in a vast universe, one small act could make a difference. Ethan woke early the next morning to soft movements on the porch. The alien was awake, sitting up slowly, stretching long, lean limbs with careful precision. Its eyes glowed faintly in the morning light, and for the first time, it looked fully alert. Ethan studied it silently, noticing the intricate patterns on its skin now pulsing gently, like a heartbeat visible from the outside. There was intelligence in those eyes, far beyond anything he had seen in humans or animals. "Good morning," Ethan said quietly, not wanting to startle it. The alien tilted its head and emitted a low melodic sound. Though he didn't understand the words, he could feel the emotion, curiosity mixed with cautious gratitude. Ethan smiled and held up a cup of water. The alien took it carefully, sipping slowly, and Ethan noticed it observing everything around the porch, taking in details with sharp awareness. Over breakfast, Ethan offered more food, simple bread, fruit, and milk. The alien accepted, but it ate slowly, clearly cautious. Ethan tried asking questions again. "Where are you from?" he said, pointing to the sky. The alien's eyes shifted upward as if remembering distant worlds, then back to him. A soft, almost musical sound came from its throat. Ethan didn't understand, but he sensed pride and a hint of sorrow. After breakfast, Ethan decided to show the alien some of his small inventions. He loved building things, repairing old machinery, and tinkering with tools. He pointed to a broken water pump and explained in simple words how it worked. The alien watched attentively, its fingers moving slightly, testing the air as if imagining the components in its mind. Ethan was impressed. It was clear this being understood technology, and not just in a simple way. It was clever, patient, and precise. "You're smart," Ethan said, shaking his head in disbelief. The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh, then touched his hand lightly. The gesture was gentle but deliberate. Ethan felt a strange warmth. There was a connection forming, quiet but real, as if two very different beings had found common ground. As the morning sun rose higher, Ethan suggested a small walk. He helped the alien down the porch steps. Its movements were still awkward but improving. They walked slowly along the edge of the forest, Ethan pointing out the small details of his world. Birds nesting in trees, a stream reflecting the sunlight, flowers blooming in hidden patches. The alien seemed fascinated by these simple things, tilting its head, touching leaves gently, and listening to the sounds. "You've never seen a place like this before," Ethan said. The alien made a soft sound again and looked around, taking in every detail. Ethan wondered about its world, a place so vast that his small house and forest seemed like a tiny speck in comparison. He didn't know if it was from a high-tech city, a distant planet, or somewhere humans couldn't even imagine. Yet, here it was, finding rest on his porch and appreciating the simple beauty of Earth. When they returned, Ethan decided to help the alien get stronger. He fetched some old exercise equipment from his shed and showed it how to move carefully, build strength, and stretch properly. The alien followed his instructions with surprising ease, learning quickly and adapting. Ethan couldn't help but marvel at its abilities. It had the grace of a dancer and the focus of a master engineer. Every movement seemed calculated, yet natural, showing a combination of discipline and intelligence. Later, as they rested on the porch again, Ethan noticed something strange. The alien was examining his tools, small pieces of metal, wires, and devices scattered on the table. Its fingers moved expertly, almost repairing things that Ethan hadn't even noticed were broken. "You really know what you're doing," Ethan said. The alien's eyes seemed to sparkle, and it made a sound of approval. It was clear that helping was mutual. He had given it rest and food, and it was returning care in its own way, through skill and knowledge. Hours passed, and the sky began to turn orange with the evening sun. Ethan could see the alien growing stronger, more alert, and more confident. He wondered about the journey that had brought it here. How far had it traveled? How many worlds had it seen? And yet, despite all that, it trusted him. That trust was humbling. Ethan realized that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could create bonds stronger than any command, stronger than fear or suspicion. As night approached, Ethan prepared a place for the alien to sleep again. This time he added extra blankets and cushions, ensuring it was comfortable. The alien lay down, eyes half closed, and for a long time, they simply watched the stars together. Ethan felt a sense of awe at the universe, at the idea that this small porch had become a resting place for a traveler from across the stars. Before drifting off to sleep, Ethan whispered, "Rest well. Tomorrow is another day and we'll figure out the rest together." The alien hummed softly, a sound that was almost like a lullaby. Ethan didn't know it yet, but the being he had cared for was not just a traveler. It carried immense responsibility, a presence that could shape the fate of entire galaxies. Yet on this quiet porch, all that mattered was trust, care, and the small human heart willing to help. Ethan looked up at the stars, feeling that he had touched something extraordinary. For now the galaxy was far away and the alien was here, resting. And sometimes he thought that was enough. Ethan woke to an unusual sound, a low hum that seemed to come from the alien. The creature was awake, sitting cross-legged on the porch, eyes glowing faintly in the early morning light. Its movements were precise, careful, yet graceful, as if every motion had purpose. Ethan rubbed his eyes and realized the alien had spent the night resting comfortably for the first time since its arrival. "Morning," Ethan said, his voice still rough from sleep. The alien tilted its head and responded with a melodic sound that rose and fell like a soft song. Ethan didn't understand the words, but he felt the meaning, a greeting, a question, and a hint of gratitude all at once. He smiled, realizing that even without a shared language, some understanding could cross any boundary. Breakfast was quiet. Ethan placed a plate of bread, fruit, and water on the table. The alien accepted it, moving carefully but confidently now. As it ate, Ethan studied the intricate patterns on its skin. They glowed faintly with each breath, almost like a rhythm, like a heartbeat he could see. It was mesmerizing, and he couldn't help but feel that the creature carried more than just fatigue. There was intelligence, wisdom, and perhaps a burden he couldn't yet imagine. After eating, Ethan decided to show the alien around his small workshop. He had always loved tinkering with machines, old engines, and broken electronics. "This is my little corner," he said, gesturing to a cluttered workbench. "I fix what I can." The alien moved closer, fingers hovering over tools and wires as if it could sense their potential. Ethan demonstrated a simple repair on a small generator, showing how each part connected, how electricity flowed, and how adjustments could make it work better. The alien watched attentively, absorbing every detail. When Ethan finished, it reached out, carefully adjusting a tiny component on the generator that he hadn't even noticed. The machine whirred to life, perfectly repaired. Ethan blinked, astonished. "You really know what you're doing," he said, shaking his head in disbelief. The alien made a soft, approving sound and stepped back, giving him space. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. Here was a being from another world, yet it appreciated his work, and in turn it was teaching him something too. By midday, Ethan decided they needed to stretch their legs. He guided the alien on a slow walk along the edge of the forest. Birds sang in the trees, and sunlight danced on the stream that ran nearby. Ethan pointed out small details, the shape of a leaf, a bird's nest, the way the water shimmered in the sun. The alien observed quietly, touching leaves, listening to birds, and occasionally making soft humming sounds. Ethan realized that even a traveler from the far reaches of the galaxy could be amazed by the simple beauty of a planet like Earth. When they returned, Ethan set up a small area for exercises. He had some old equipment, a set of resistance bands, a few weights, and some ropes. "Helps keep me in shape," he said. The alien moved with him, learning quickly, adapting its movements with a natural grace. Every stretch, every lift was precise. Ethan watched in awe, thinking how humans prided themselves on their resourcefulness, and here was a being that combined discipline with intelligence in a way that reminded him of human potential, yet exceeded it. As the afternoon passed, Ethan noticed the alien studying his tools and gadgets. Its fingers moved lightly over wires and metal, repairing, adjusting, improving things without a word. Ethan realized that helping wasn't one-sided. He had given food and rest, but the alien was returning the favor through skill and attention. He chuckled softly. "Guess we're teaching each other," he said. The alien made a low sound that felt almost like a laugh, a gentle acknowledgement. Evening came and the sun cast long shadows across the porch. Ethan prepared a comfortable place for the alien to rest again, laying extra blankets and cushions. The alien lay down carefully, eyes half closed, and a quiet calm settled over the porch. Ethan sat beside it, gazing at the stars beginning to appear. He thought about the vastness of the galaxy, about how tiny his home seemed, and yet how important this small act of kindness had become. For the first time, he considered the possibility that this visitor was more than just a traveler. It moved with intelligence, repaired machines effortlessly, and observed the world with careful thought. Yet it trusted him, a human from a remote settlement, simply because he had offered help. Ethan felt proud, not for himself but for the potential of humanity, the ability to care, to build, to connect, even across unimaginable distances. As night deepened, the alien hummed softly, a melody that carried a sense of peace and gratitude. Ethan whispered, "You're safe here. Rest as long as you need." He didn't know it yet, but the being lying on his porch carried responsibilities that could affect entire worlds. And still, in this quiet human home, it had found a moment of peace. Ethan leaned back in his chair, looking up at the stars, feeling that small acts could ripple through the universe in ways one could never predict. The galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers, yet here on his porch one human's compassion had created a bridge between worlds. And sometimes he thought that was enough to start changing everything. Ethan woke to a soft glow on the porch. The alien was awake, sitting upright, its glowing eyes now steady and alert. It moved with purpose, stretching its long limbs carefully, yet with a grace that reminded Ethan of a dancer. He felt a mixture of awe and curiosity. This creature was no ordinary visitor, it carried itself with quiet authority, though Ethan still had no idea just how important it was. "Morning," Ethan said, keeping his voice gentle. The alien tilted its head and emitted a melodic sound, a greeting he could feel more than understand. There was a quiet dignity in its tone, an unspoken intelligence that made Ethan realize this being had seen and experienced far more than he could imagine. Ethan offered breakfast as usual, bread, fruit, and water. The alien ate slowly, observing Ethan as much as he observed it. Ethan tried to ask questions, simple ones about where it came from, but the alien only made low, musical sounds and gestures. He noticed its eyes flicker toward the stars as if remembering distant worlds, then back at him with trust and curiosity. He smiled, realizing that understanding didn't always need words. After breakfast, Ethan decided it was time to show the alien more of his world. He led it to his workshop, cluttered with tools, old machines, and half-finished inventions. "This is where I fix things," he said, pointing to a generator that had stopped working the week before. He demonstrated how the parts fit together, how electricity flowed, and how to repair minor faults. The alien watched closely, eyes sharp, hands moving slightly as if visualizing each step. When Ethan finished, the alien reached out carefully, adjusting a small component he had missed. The generator hummed to life smoothly. Ethan blinked, astonished. "You really know what you're doing?" he said. The alien made a sound that seemed almost like a laugh, a soft acknowledgement of his praise. For a moment, Ethan realized they were learning from each other. He taught patience and care, and it returned knowledge and skill in quiet, unspoken ways. As the day progressed, Ethan took the alien on a slow walk along the edge of the forest. Birds sang, sunlight reflected on the stream, and the leaves shimmered in the breeze. Ethan pointed out small details, a flower blooming, a bird building a nest, the way sunlight danced on water. The alien paused often, touching the leaves, listening, and taking in the world with wonder. Ethan realized that even a traveler from across the galaxy could be amazed by Earth's simple beauty. Returning home, Ethan decided to help the alien regain strength. He set up a small area with weights, ropes, and stretching bands. "Helps keep me fit," he said. The alien followed, learning quickly, its movements precise and fluid. Ethan watched, impressed by its discipline and adaptability. He thought about humanity's resourcefulness, how small efforts could lead to great outcomes, and how this creature combined intelligence and skill in ways humans could only aspire to. During the afternoon, Ethan noticed the alien examining his tools and machines. Its fingers moved deftly, repairing, adjusting, and improving things he hadn't even noticed were broken. He laughed softly. "You're teaching me now," he said. The alien hummed in response, and Ethan felt a warmth he had never experienced with any visitor before. It was a connection beyond language, beyond culture. A mutual respect between two beings from different worlds. As evening fell, Ethan prepared a comfortable resting place on the porch. He laid extra blankets and cushions carefully. The alien settled down, eyes half closed, and a calm quiet descended over the house. Ethan sat nearby, watching the stars slowly appear in the sky. He felt humbled by the vastness of the galaxy and amazed that this creature had chosen, or perhaps needed, to rest here. Finally, the alien stirred, looking directly at him. Ethan felt a flicker of something, authority, power, and responsibility, in its gaze, though he could not yet name it. The being had traveled across galaxies, carried knowledge and leadership far beyond human understanding, and yet it had trusted him, a simple human, enough to rest on his porch. Ethan whispered softly, "You're safe here. Rest as long as you need." The alien responded with a melodic hum that seemed almost like a lullaby. Ethan leaned back, marveling at the moment. In this quiet corner of the universe, the stars overhead and the soft rustle of the forest around him, a bridge had formed between worlds. He realized that sometimes the smallest acts, a bowl of water, a blanket, a moment of care, could ripple far beyond the immediate, shaping destinies that no one could yet see. Night deepened and the alien's hum continued softly. Ethan thought about the galaxy, its countless civilizations, and the conflicts he would never fully understand. Yet here on this small porch he had made a difference. He had shown kindness and trust, and in return the alien had shown intelligence, skill, and an unspoken gratitude. For the first time, Ethan understood the true value of humanity. It was not just strength or technology, but the ability to care, to connect, and to act with compassion even when the stakes were unknowable. That quiet human heart, beating steadily in a small house at the edge of a forest, was enough to touch the stars. As sleep finally claimed him, Ethan felt a certainty he had never known. The universe was vast, but this one act, offering rest and kindness to a weary traveler, might be the beginning of something much greater. He didn't know the alien's true identity yet, but he felt that one day he would understand. And when that day came, he hoped the trust they had built would carry far beyond his quiet porch. Ethan woke to a quiet hum filling the porch. The alien was already awake, sitting upright and alert, its eyes glowing softly in the early light. Its posture was confident now, movements smooth and controlled, yet still careful. Ethan felt a mixture of awe and anticipation. Something told him that the being he had sheltered was far more than a simple traveler. It carried a presence that could shape worlds, even if he didn't yet understand it. "Morning," Ethan said softly. The alien tilted its head and responded with a gentle, melodic hum. He didn't understand the words, but he felt respect and trust in its tone. Ethan realized that this creature had assessed him over the past days, deciding that he was worthy of trust. That thought filled him with pride, not of himself but of the human spirit he represented: kindness, resourcefulness, and courage. As breakfast began, Ethan placed a plate of bread, fruit, and water before the alien. It accepted the food carefully, eating slowly while keeping an alert watch on its surroundings. Ethan tried to ask questions again, about its home, its purpose, but the alien only made soft sounds, glances that spoke more than words could. At one moment, it looked toward the sky, then back at him, and Ethan felt a strange connection, as if the being understood him in a way humans rarely did. After breakfast, Ethan led the alien to his workshop, cluttered with tools, machines, and half-finished projects. "This is where I fix things," he explained, pointing to a broken generator. He demonstrated the simple repair, showing how each piece connected and worked together. The alien watched closely, its glowing eyes analyzing every detail. When Ethan finished, it reached out and adjusted a small component he had missed. The generator hummed smoothly, perfectly repaired. Ethan blinked, astonished. "You really know what you're doing?" he said. The alien responded with a melodic sound that felt like acknowledgement. Ethan realized they were learning from each other. He had given it rest and food, and in return, it shared skill and intelligence that no human could match. It was a silent partnership, born of trust and mutual respect. By mid-morning, Ethan decided to show the alien his world beyond the house. They walked along the edge of the forest, sunlight glinting on leaves and water. Birds sang and the wind rustled through the trees. Ethan pointed out details: a bird building a nest, flowers blooming, sunlight reflecting on the stream. The alien paused often, touching leaves and listening to sounds with delicate attention. Even a being from distant worlds could marvel at Earth's simple beauty. Ethan felt a warm pride. Humans could offer wonder and peace that even the farthest traveler would appreciate. Returning to the porch, Ethan prepared a small exercise area. "Helps me stay strong," he said. The alien followed, stretching and moving with fluid grace. It lifted weights carefully, adjusted its posture, and mirrored Ethan's movements with remarkable precision. Ethan noticed that every motion was deliberate, every action thoughtful. He realized that this creature's intelligence was paired with discipline, a combination that reminded him of humanity's best qualities, amplified in a being from across the stars. In the afternoon, the alien explored Ethan's workshop further. Its fingers adjusted gadgets and tools, repairing, fine-tuning, improving. Ethan watched, impressed. "You're teaching me now," he said. The alien made a soft sound that felt almost like laughter, a melodic acknowledgement. Ethan realized that this was more than gratitude, it was partnership. He had provided shelter and care, and the alien contributed knowledge and skill in return. Together they had built something simple yet extraordinary: understanding between worlds. As evening approached, Ethan prepared a comfortable resting area for the alien. He layered blankets and cushions carefully. The alien settled down, eyes half closed, exuding calm and trust. Ethan sat nearby, gazing at the stars, thinking about the vastness of the galaxy and the small but significant role he had played. He didn't yet know the alien's true identity, only that it carried responsibility, knowledge, and power. Yet, here on a quiet human porch, it had chosen to rest. The alien's soft hum filled the night, a melody of peace and gratitude. Ethan whispered, "You're safe here. Rest as long as you need." The being responded with a gentle hum, almost like a lullaby, and Ethan felt a deep sense of fulfillment. In this quiet corner of the universe, A bridge had formed between human and alien, small but strong, built on kindness, intelligence, and trust. Later, when the stars shone brighter, the alien stirred slightly, and its eyes met Ethan's. There was something unspoken in that gaze: authority, power, and a quiet promise of importance. Ethan didn't fully understand it yet, but he felt certain that this creature's presence would change much more than his life. The galaxy, with all its dangers and wonders, had already been touched by his small act of compassion. For the first time, Ethan understood something profound. Human greatness was not only in strength or technology but in empathy, courage, and the ability to connect across differences. His small porch, his simple acts of care, had created a ripple that could reach far beyond Earth. And for now that was enough. Ethan leaned back, watching the stars twinkle in silence, knowing that one day the alien's true identity would be revealed, and the consequences of this meeting would unfold. But tonight the galaxy could wait. Tonight, a human had shown kindness, and that kindness had created trust that might one day shape the fate of worlds. And sometimes Ethan thought that was enough to change everything.